gala evening to celebrate a constellation of global leaders, business tycoons and policymakers. The 8th edition of ET Now Global Business Summit was recently held in the national capital with an aim to celebrate the world's politics, economy and diplomacy. The event was flagged off by a keynote address by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
देवियों और सज्जनों, पिछले एक साल में सिर्फ पेट्रोल में इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग करके भी हमने 24,000 करोड़ रुपए बचाए हैं। और इतना ही नहीं, जिस स्वच्छता अभियान का कुछ लोग मजाक उड़ाते हैं, ये देश का प्राइम मिनिस्टर स्वच्छता की बातें करता रहता है। स्वच्छता अभियान के तहत हमने सरकारी इमारतों में जो सफाई का मैं काम करवाया, उसमें से जो कबाड़ निकला वो बेच करके मैं 1100 करोड़ रुपए कमाया हूं। और साथियों, हमने अपनी योजनाओं को भी ऐसे बनाया कि देश के नागरिकों के पैसे बचे। आज जल जीवन मिशन की वजह से गरीबों को पीने का शुद्ध पानी मिलना संभव हुआ। इस वजह से बीमारी पर होने वाला उनका खर्च कम हुआ है। आयुष्मान भारत ने देश के गरीब के 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए खर्च होने से बचाए हैं और उसका उपचार हुआ है।
The ET Now Global Business Summit was followed by an exclusive one-on-one session with Manohar Lal, Chief Minister Haryana.
मनोहर लाल जी एक दूसरी तरह की बात का भी ख्याल रख रहे हैं कि डिसबैलेंस ना होने पाए। ऐसा ना हो कि इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाए और एग्रीकल्चर कहीं पीछे छूट जाए। भारत कृषि प्रधान देश है और भारत में कृषि को साथ में लेकर चलना है। आपके बारे में ये भी कहा जाता है कि इनोवेशन सोचना आसान नहीं होता, आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स हर बार रैशनल लॉजिकल थिंकिंग हो, ये बड़ा चैलेंज होता है। और आपके कई ब्यूरोक्रेट्स इस मामले में आपकी बड़ी दाद देते हैं और कहते हैं कि ये हम नहीं सोच पाते, और कई बार सोचते हैं कि सीएम साहब के दिमाग में कैसे आए।
ये बात ठीक है कि एक काम होता है सोचना, कि लक्ष्य तय करना कि क्या करना है, और मैं उन अधिकारियों की, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स की प्रशंसा करता हूं कि जो उसको ज़मीन पर उतारते हैं। हमारा काम होता है विचार देना, एक नीति बनाना, कोई लेजिस्लेचर का काम है, कोई कानून में यानी प्रावधान करना कानूनी, कोई संशोधन करना, लेकिन जनता के सुख के लिए उसको एक नीचे तक उतारने का काम हमारी ब्यूरोक्रेसी करती है। बहुत काम हमने किया। हमने जैसे किसान की आपने बात कही, किसान की बहुत समस्याएं, जैसे कभी उसका नुकसान हो गया, उसको मुआवजा टाइम पर नहीं मिलता, उसकी फसल है उसकी बिक्री ठीक नहीं होती, उसको बिक्री होने के बाद पैसा उसके घर में नहीं पहुंचता। इन सब चीज़ों के लिए हमने कहा भी एक ऐसा पोर्टल बनाएंगे, मेरी फसल मेरा ब्यौरा। हर किसान बुआई के समय अपनी फसल का उसमें जिक्र कर दे कि मैंने ये चीज़ की बुआई की है। उसका वेरिफिकेशन करना हमारा काम होता है, वेरीफाई करते हैं। उसके बाद कभी उसका लॉस हो गया तो उसको कंपनसेशन देना, तो उसको ट्रैक कर लेते हैं हम। उसकी लॉस को भी वो उसी में भरता है, वो अपने आप जानकारी देता है प्रोएक्टिव होकर के। हम उसको वेरीफाई करते हैं, उसका खाते में उसके वो कंपनसेशन चला जाता है। बिक्री होनी होती है, उसकी ई खरीद करते हैं। मंडियां हमारी ई नए मंडियां बन गई हैं। सब चीज़ जितना उसका अनाज है उसको बेचने के लिए उसको कोई समस्या नहीं आती। अनाज बिकता है, प्रोक्योरमेंट होती है, प्रोक्योरमेंट के बाद पैसा उसके खाते में चला जाता है। वरना तो पैसा पहले आड़तियों के पास जाता था, उनके साहूकार होते हैं उनके पास जाता था, किसान को ज़रूरत होती थी तो वो पीछे पीछे घूमता था। मुझे अपनी बेटी की शादी करनी है तो वो कहता था ठीक है तुम मेरे हलवाई के पास चले जाओ, वहाँ जा करके उससे ले आओ। कपड़े वाले की दुकान के पास चले जाओ, कपड़ा वहाँ से ले आओ। टेंट वाले की दुकान पर चला जाओ, टेंट वहाँ से ले आओ। पेमेंट कौन करता था? पेमेंट आड़ती करता था। लेकिन आज किसान हमारा लखपति करोड़पति हो गया और वो सीधा पैसा अपना खर्च करता है। अब तो उल्टा, कभी कभी साहूकार जाके किसान से मांगता है मुझे पैसे की ज़रूरत है, ज़रा मुझे पैसा दे दो। तीसरा काम किया हमने गरीब आदमी के लिए परिवार पहचान पत्र, एक यूनिक ऐसा काम किया कि जिसमें से हर परिवार का डाटा हमारे पास आ गया और उसकी आवश्यकता क्या है, उस आवश्यकता को पूरा करने के लिए हम गवर्नमेंट गोज़ टू डोर स्टेप, यानी G2D, गवर्नमेंट टू डोर स्टेप, हमने नया एक काम किया है जिससे लोग बहुत प्रसन्न हैं और उनकी आवश्यकताओं को हम पूरा करते हैं। प्रोएक्टिव होकर के लोगों की ज़रूरत क्या है, डिमांड बेस्ड कोई चीज़ हम पूरी नहीं करते, नीड बेस्ड एक्शन हमारे होते हैं। नीड किसकी क्या है उसको हम देते हैं। तो इससे हमारे यहाँ गरीब परिवार की चिंता खत्म हो गई, गरीबों को बहुत लाभ मिला।
After the exclusive interview, next in line was an intriguing panel discussion on the topic of Digital Dawn, pioneering the future of innovation and transformation, where Principal Secretary to the Chief Minister of Haryana, Shri V. Uma Shankar IAS, has spoken on the initiative taken by the government of Haryana in terms of digitization. Here is a sneak peek from his session.
Digital public infrastructure goes to the next level beyond the physical infra, and I must mention that Haryana has done a lot of work in this area. It all started with a sense that Aadhaar is there, and we also have a UPI system, a payment system that enables payments to happen directly into identified and recognized people's accounts. What is the next layer? Can we build a unique identifier for every family? Now, because most of the benefits that governments provide relate to the family as a unit. 2, can we provide a unique identity to every piece of land and property? Can we provide a unique identity to every crop that is sown every year? Can we provide a unique identity to every tree? Can we provide a unique identity to every animal and every vehicle? An enterprise at last. If we are able to uniquely identify all of these and interlink, then the scale of what is possible becomes enormous, and that is the digital infrastructure that can be made available for the progress of the state as well as the country. So we started working on a unique identifier for every family. We called it the Parivar Pehchan Patra, and today 96% of the state is on this platform. And if you need an electricity connection, there is no documentation, there is no validation required, just the PPP ID is enough. If you are going for admission to a college and you need, say, validation of a caste certificate because you're seeking certain benefits insofar as admissions are concerned, that is done automatically. You don't need any piece of paper to be obtained by the local officer. You don't need to go to any office. So in a sense, the information in relation to the family having been digitized and then exposed to those government entities at present who are going to use this to provide certain services has made things very seamless.
Trust in digital domain primarily depend on two factors. One is hardware and trust in the software. Until unless we don't have homegrown technologies to address both of these, the challenges can't be reduced. Leave aside eliminating.
At NASSCOM, we are releasing a report on the topic next week, and where what we have done is that we have looked at the DPI universe in two buckets. One is the established, mature DPIs, and then there are several budding DPIs, DPIs which have come up in the last few years, which will really scale up in the next few years and make a huge amount of difference.
Aadhaar is doing its job, UPI is doing its job, Aadhaar card is doing its job, but where else we lack in one particular thing, that all the agencies at their entry level, they fail to do 100% KYCs. That is what exactly is the need of an hour.
The vision was simple. We wanted to simplify the user journey from entry till the boarding gate. That was a simple vision, and I keep quoting this example. I was at the airport, and during the initial days I was actually onboarding the passengers myself. So there was this user who was approximately 60 years old and all, and he walked up to me and said that, can you register me to the app? I've heard a lot about it. What is it all about? So onboarded him in 5 minutes and then told him that, yeah, you can cross the entry gate and DSHA gate by just showing your face. So he walked through the gate and he said, Kamal ho gaya, maza aa gaya.
Country like United States marvels because they are still struggling to track their pandemic relief checks that were given through plastic cards and paper cards. So that transformed scholarships, pensions, farmer benefits, subsidies, all of it got linked and really led to digital transformation of the country.
V. Uma Shankar opined in an exclusive interview that the use of technology by the Haryana government is quite pervasive. Initiatives like Parivar Pehchan Patra demonstrate the state government's comprehensive commitment to digital governance. Here are takeaways from his interaction with ET Now.
Sir, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Pleasure being here.
Sir, when we talk about Viksit Bharat, and we talk about Viksit Bharat in the context of the government of Haryana, the Mera Parivar Meri Pehchan initiative comes up in conversation time and time again. Tell us more about what it was designed to achieve.
Parivar Pehchan Patra originated from the vision of our Chief Minister. In fact, there were 2 attempts, both of which failed, and then we started all over again in 2020. The very premise behind this is to have an authenticated and verified database of all citizens grouped into families. Essentially families, because most of the government schemes use family as a unit for delivery of benefits. So if we are able to do that, then we make the process of delivery of benefits and subsidy schemes seamlessly and in a trouble-free manner to citizens at their doorstep.
Right.
So it is essentially to take government to the doorsteps of the people, inverting the government-citizen relationship. That was the essential premise behind Parivar Pehchan Patra, and in a sense, if you are looking towards a Viksit Bharat, ease of living is one of the primary indicators towards saying that we have reached that stage of a developed Viksit country.
Right.
And this would fall right into that bracket.
Well, sir, digitization, to my understanding, has been a whole cornerstone of the Mera Parivar Meri Pehchan initiative. Tell us about how it's embraced digital differently.
This platform is more to ensure that people receive benefits without visiting government offices, going through a process. I mean, let me take a few use cases.
Please.
I think that would make things more understandable. Let's assume a traditional mechanism of taking a ration card. So one would have to go apply physically or on an online platform, make a visit to a government office, somebody would come to your place, verify what you're doing, whether you are eligible for that card or not. There will be an approval process, and finally you would receive or you would be rejected. I mean, the request for a ration card would be rejected. This is a long and an elaborate process. Instead of that, if we have a database that is originally authenticated and verified on socioeconomic criteria, then presently, for example, in Haryana, nobody needs to apply for a ration card. If you are below the poverty line, the system itself identifies these families, sends them a message, and they just walk into the nearest ration shop with that message and they are eligible to receive benefits, and the whole system is integrated. If you're above the poverty line, go on an online platform, print your card and use it for whatever purpose you want to use it. Let's take the social security pensions. Let's take Divyang pension. If you take Divyang pension as an example, now again in the past, you had to apply, you had to go get a Divyang certificate, and then you would go through an approval process, and then you would receive the benefit, or that benefit would be refused. Now it's automatically integrated, so the moment a Divyang certificate gets issued and you're otherwise eligible, there is a person, a government official who comes to you, seeks your consent, and you receive the benefit from the next month. So you don't need to go to any office, you don't need to file any application, you don't need to go through a process, and it's automatic, so people receive the benefit at their doorstep. These are two use cases which are presently existing in the state. There are many other use cases. I can say, let's take a student who's applying for admission to a school or a college, and he wants to take benefit of, say, his caste. There are reservations in admissions, and in the past, again, he had to go to a government office, make an application, go through a process by which he would get a caste certificate. Now all he needs to do is go to the, when he applies for the admission, give his PPP ID, and there is his caste validation is automatically done with the concerned college or university, and he receives the benefit. Doesn't need to go, procure any document, and his life becomes that much more easier.
Absolutely.
So the Parivar Pehchan Patra is actually a digital public infrastructure. It's a platform which will enable services to be provided without documents, anytime, anywhere.
And to what extent has it been warmly received by residents? It's absolutely life transforming, but awareness is the underlying engine to propel those transformations?
So again, after the two failed attempts, as I mentioned, when the third attempt happened, we realized that we need to get it linked to services. People need to see the benefit of providing the data and getting the data authenticated.
Right.
So we started off with, say, a scheme, and that was just at the onset of COVID, the COVID lockdown. And there was a scheme which we launched called the Mukhyamantri Parivar Samriddhi Yojana, the benefit of which would be provided in case you register for PPP. So starting from there, getting into COVID, then through the admissions process, we have linked all services. So today, if you want to take electricity connection, then if you provide your PPP ID, no other identity or other authentication is required. So you receive the benefit.
Phenomenal.
And you get the collections, electricity connection. So once people started seeing the benefit, and there was a lot of apprehension about, one, providing data, two, feeling that profiling would not start as a result.
Right.
Three, accuracies, the issues about data security and privacy. And we had to go through a process of trying to convince people that this would be an interest. It took us a couple of years to do that, and we did it the way of going step by step, not forcing them in the beginning, making them see the benefit of coming on the platform, receiving benefits, and now our coverage is close to 96% of the state.
That's very heartening to hear.
So I think people who are up in the economic ladder also now have Parivar Pehchan Patra cards. So that's the indicator of how, to what extent we have been able to reach out and able to convince people that it is in their interest.
And sir, in terms of digital public infrastructure projects in the pipeline that the government of Haryana is spearheading, what more can you tell us? What do we have to look forward to in the future?
Our Chief Minister's vision has been that, can we have a unique identity? We have the identity for an individual, that's the Aadhaar.
Right.
We have, as a layer, brought the UPI onto it, which has made direct benefit transfers very simple. But between these two, there are a whole lot of other areas where unique identifiers can be brought in. So we brought in family. So you have a unique identifier for a family with all the socio-economic indicators added onto it. What about unique identifier for land and property? So you just give the unique identifier, everything gets recognized. Crop.
Sure.
Then animal, enterprise,
right,
and tree.
Right.
That completes, and vehicle, again, the vehicle registration number is the unique identity for the vehicle. So when we link all of this together, then we have magic.
Right.
So we have already done for land and crops. So we have the platform called the Meri Fasal Mera Byora, where every farmer comes and self-declares as to what crop he is growing, linked to the land that he possesses, which is linked to the revenue record, the land records.
Yeah.
And that, this has also again been 3 years or so in the, it was launched about 3.5 years back.
Sure.
It has given us a wealth of information, and not just information, it has enabled so many services to be provided. For example, if there is a farmer, and this has practically happened, he was growing gram, and the market price for gram falls below the MSP. Then the state government has taken a call that we would go procure the crop, or give him the difference between the market price and the MSP. So Haryana today ensures MSP on 14 crops. No other state does that.
Right.
No other state in the country does that. And it's been possible because of this. Another example is, say, stubble management. There has been a lot of concern in Delhi about stubble burning and that leading to pollution. And you must have read, even the Supreme Court has appreciated what Haryana has done.
Yes.
So we have used the Meri Fasal Mera Byora platform to tell all the aggregators as to where the stubble is available, so they can reach the farmers directly, and also provided the flat platform through the Meri Fasal Mera Byora, where they could get a market for that stubble. So stubble today is not burnt, it's sold, and the farmers are making money out of stubble. So the extent of stubble burning in Haryana has dropped by over about 400%, whereas in Punjab it has been about 60%. So this has been expanding over the years. So biofuel plants are taking access to Meri Fasal Mera Bureau to source their supplies, set up their supply chain for their plants to function. So this kind of public infra, digital public infra that we create has enabled various actions to happen. Going beyond, we are looking at enterprise. We had started on identifier for an enterprise which we call the Haryana Udyam Memorandum. That has not yet taken off entirely, and focus has more been on these two areas, so we intend to take that forward. On the tree, we have carried out a tree census, and we have started at every tree in the state, geolocated, so that you know which is being taken care of, who is cutting which tree. And also the aim is to increase the canopy. And therefore, Haryana doesn't have too much of forest area. So if we can sort of cover that up by having more trees in the state, then environmentally that leads to be, to more Vikasit Bharat. So we've looked upon each of these entities to see how we can create the base infra and use that for the state's benefit.
Well, sir, let's talk about economic empowerment specifically, right? And some of the initiatives that the government has taken that are transforming livelihood irrespective of socioeconomic strata.
Let's look at that as an example, again using the same platforms. So the Parivar Pehchan Patra platform provides you data on who's looking for a job. Recently, post the war in Israel, Israel was looking at inducting in workers who would help them in the reconstruction process or the construction process there. So we again used the same platform to identify people who were construction workers or who had experience in some of the related areas where the experience is wanted, invited them to test, put them through a 1-month training process, invited the Israeli companies to come and test them, and they have been selected. So not just employment within, but employment abroad too. We've been able to use this platform to ensure that this kind of an interface happens, and we cut the cost of business or cost of identification. We also use this for providing, identifying, there is this scheme called the Mukhyamantri Antyodaya Parivar Utthan Yojana, where we look at families whose annual income is less than 1 lakh per annum. We reach out to them. We have this panoply of schemes, see which one of them is something that they would look to take that forward and provide them the benefit there. And then go and assess whether their incomes are actually increasing as a result. So it is a complete end-to-end kind of a process. Idea is to leave no person behind.
The ET Now Global Business Summit 2024 presented by the Times Group has been at the forefront of driving a singular agenda for scripting economic change by connecting the building blocks of economics for India and the globe. ET Now GBS serves as a conduit for corporates and governments to secure investments from domestic and international allies that will become a part of India's growth story.